Welcome back, everyone. I'm Setharoth, and today we are going to be diving into the alteration spells of the Apocalypse spell mod. There are over 30 of these spells, so we're going to be cutting through these fairly quickly. I hope there will be time to get through them all in one video, but there are over 30 of them, so we're going to just dive right in. I'm going to start with the spells that are not combat-oriented, that are more utility-based. So for starters, we're going to tap into Longstride and prepare for adventure. Now, Longstride is one of the earliest. It's a novice level spell. It's one of the first ones that you will get when you start playing around with Apocalypse because it allows this. Not only does this increase your movement speed, it also increases the ease at which you can find people that are trying to kill you. Anyway. So it also increases your carrying capacity. I believe it increases your capacity by 25 points if you are not in combat, and then 75 points if you are out of combat. So it can be used if you've got, if you find that one heavy armor piece that's super rare, and you just don't have quite enough carry space for it, you can use this spell, and as long as your magicka holds out, you can get to where you need to go. Next, we have Prepare for Adventure. This is another novice level spell. It is definitely to be used in preparation before you're about to get into trouble. We're just going to... Showing is better than explaining for this particular spell. So what this just did was add some items to my inventory. So I now have fabricated boots that give me 20 magicka, fabricated circlet for another 20 magicka, fabricated robes for 75% magicka, and then I believe it also throws in, a fabricated staff. Now the staff is actually, it will have it's randomized, right? So it goes into the list of objects and enhancements for enchantments. So since I have Summer Mist on here, that's hundreds of options, not just the vanilla options. The catch is this little arsenal only lasts for about 3 minutes, so you got to be judicious, right? You'll use it before you get into a fight. Obviously, it's just for mages. It boosts your magicka, your regen, and gives you a staff. So at least I know the staff is usually something fighty, but knowing my luck, I would end up with a fire staff when a flame Atronach was trying to kill me. So I don't know if you can rely on this 100%, but if you want to have a playthrough that's more like a lottery, or you want to try a lot of the Summer Mist mods, Summer Mist enchantments without necessarily using the command line to summon them all, you can use this spell to just randomly pull up a different staff every time and get a feel for some of the different enchantments that might be available. Alright, that's it for the non-combat novice spells, so let's move on to the apprentice spells. Next is Dropzone. And we can go ahead and double-hand this one. Let's see, where's a good place that I can fall to my death? Yes, you heard me right. Fall to my death. We might not be able to find one, since I'm down here off the hillside. But if I come around this corner, maybe I can find something at least high enough for a demonstration. Alright, so Dropzone works by looking down at your destination, should you fall to your death, and then stepping into it. And I will show this again when I get to the combat area where I will be showing off those spells. That has a tower that I can fall from, but I want to make sure that I didn't overlook this one. So no matter how far you fall, I've actually tried this from the top of mountains and it works just fine, as long as your character lands in this spot. So the only thing you got to be aware of is when you are aiming down, it's very easy for you to accidentally aim too far out because you're dropping like hundreds of feet, and when you step off you might not make it. So you got to be a little careful about definitely save the first couple of times you're trying out that spell, just so that you don't fall to your death and lose 20 hours of game time. Because well, let's face it, if you're trying out a new mod and you're not saving beforehand, you've got bigger problems. Okay, let's see. So that was Dropzone. The next is Ocato's Recital. Now that one I already have set up for my character, but we will show you how to set it up. Alright, so it starts off with being prepped in your right hand. This is easier in first person view. You'll notice the upper left corner that will give you the instructions. So you charge it up, let her rip. If your left hand is empty, that's going to reset the spells that you currently have saved, right? So I'm going to go ahead and save up... Let's go ahead and save up Ebony Flesh, all right? So I'm tossing on an armor spell. So what this does, Ocato's Recital, it will save any self-targeted spell, and it will auto-cast it with no magicka anytime you enter combat. All right, so that's my armor. Let's go ahead and throw on a Soul Cloak. That is a lovely addition from Apocalypse. We'll go over that in more detail when I get into the conjuration spells. But basically anything that's, if something dies near you and you have a soul gem that can fill it, you will get it. So you don't have to soul trap individual spell targets. It's very convenient in that way. Lastly, let's throw on... Alright, this is a bit of a teaser for when I get into... Yeah, we'll do Temple Grim. Yeah. I'm also testing out another one of... Oh, I'm going to butcher his pronunciation. Enariam Sayadon. The same guy that made the Apocalypse mod also made Triumvirate. And that has some conjurations that are self-based. So this conjuration you're going to see pop up will actually happen anytime I get into combat, courtesy of this spell, Ocato's Recital. So you definitely want to prep that before combat. And you do have to be careful with it, because, for example, if you auto prep an alteration spell, illusion spell, and a conjuration spell, they will level up fairly quickly. It's not too overpowered because you just are casting them once every combat. So it adds up, but not too quickly. But at the same time, that's 3 different trees that are going to be leveling up. So if you have like a stealth character and you already are doing alchemy and speech and archery and stealth, and then you start getting points in illusion and conjuration and even restoration. Actually, there's some self spells you could use there too. The danger there is your character doesn't level up in the combat skill fast enough. You start gaining levels when your destruction is still not high enough. So for example, this guy's level 35 and my destruction is only 70 because I've been leveling up in a lot of other schools. And because of that, combat gets a little tense because your offensive isn't high enough. So that's the only real risk that I've found with Ocato's Recital, is you can end up power leveling spells faster than it actually benefits your playthrough. But you can totally pick just one spell. If you just want to auto-cast the armor spell and call it good, that is totally fine. Highly recommend it. Anyway, that's definitely... It's only an apprentice spell, so usually you can be using that within like the first hour of your playthrough. Next is Raynos Fins. This is actually a swimming spell. So we're going to go ahead and pop that puppy and go for a swim. And as you can see... this is very fast. This is a 100% increase in swim speed. So in the case that you want to completely maximize your swimming ability for whatever reason, if you're using the Imperious racial mod, you can actually put this on top of an Argonian that also gets swim speed enhancements, and then knock yourself out, because then you would swim like a god. Maybe an aquatic one. I don't know if they have any aquatic deities in Skyrim, but maybe there's a mod for that. Anyway, moving on. So next is Locate Object. This is a good one. If you've ever played D&D, this one will probably come to mind. Let's see if we can find... Actually, if I can find that altar where I just had that fight with the Necromancer, maybe that could be useful. If not, I get all turned around sometimes. Let's see how well this... okay. I didn't want to get into a fight now, but let's see what we can do. Alright, so Locate Object. This allows you to target either ore veins, gold, containers, doors, keys, soul gems, written text, I assume that means books, potions, or minerals, or equipment. So let's go ahead and try equipment. I don't think the bear is going to have any, but if we can find... Of course, I'd end up picking myself out in the... If I can't find anything quick, I will use this spell again when we get into a fight. Here we are. Alright, some kind of equipment here. Does this not count as equipment? Apparently this does not count as equipment. Alright, let's see if the book... Let's see if we can get that book to glow. Written text. There we go. Alright, so that will make whatever item you target glow green. So for example, if it's really dark in a dungeon and you're not sure you can find everything, or you're trying to find a way out and you need to find a door, this is a great spell to use when you're looting. That is my Temple Doom dog, by the way. He's pretty cool. That will be for another mod discussion. Anyway, so that's a very helpful for if you're gathering ore, if you're looting, if you're trying to find a way out, if you're trying to find locked objects. Highly recommend using that one as well. Next is Spell Twine. Now, Spell Twine is very similar. Let's see. So the first thing we'll want to do is reset it. It works a lot like Ocato's, if that's how you pronounce that, in that if you have nothing in your left hand and then cast, boom, all spells removed. So let's see. Let's go ahead and take my usual offensive spell. That's Eldritch Blast. That's another Triumvirate spell. So we're going to add on a Spell Twine effect to this spell. Now, this effect can be applied to any spell. I believe it has to be cast with one hand. It doesn't have to be self-only. So this could be combat spells, healing spells, buff spells, conjurations as well. As you can see, we have a number of options. The first is Cushion for no fall damage for 10 seconds. So if you don't want to bother with Dropzone, just cast this and hope that it's less than a 10-second drop. The Haste effect will make you faster. That's a great one for thieves. Flow makes your spells cheaper. Now, that's an interesting idea. If you're a Destruction Mage, put Flow on the combat spell you use the most often, and you'll basically recast every 5 seconds during combat, and that will keep your spells cheaper. You can also apply a Heal for 50% of your alteration level, so that will max out at 50. So I like that because it adds in some healing, but it is not by any means overpowered, right? 50 points of healing when you use a spell, when you've got like 400 health and the dragon's hitting you for 200, that's not going to break the game, but it does give you a little more toughness, I guess. A little more regenerative properties. Also, these will only work when the spells work, so once you're out of magicka, you're still screwed. So it's still balanced, but kind of cool that you can add on these extra effects. Blood makes your weapon damage do 15% more. Feather adds to your carry weight. Rock increases your armor, and Crystal increases your magic resist. So we're going to go ahead and throw on a heal, because anytime that I'm not really injured right now, but anytime that I cast this spell, I will heal by almost 50 points. I think my alteration is over 90 right now, so that would be 45 points of healing every time I cast that spell. It's pretty nice when you're in a bind, because you can actually that is the wrong button. Why is it not doubling? Oh, Spell Twine. Might be because I'm on the wrong spell. If you double up the Eldritch Blast, though, I think that doubles your regen, or at least enhances it more than just what you were getting without it. Next is Deep Storage. This is one that I particularly like. It is a expert level spell, so this is closer to your late game build. You'll need at least, I believe, 75 alteration before you can get this puppy, but it solves so many looting problems. You are a bank. You can store a crap ton of stuff in here. I do not recommend starting the game with this and then only storing stuff here, because from a coding standpoint, it can only handle a couple thousand items and then you'll have performance issues. But if you're going through 5 or 10 dungeons and you just want to grab everything until you get bored and then you want to go sell it all, this is a great way around that particular issue. So that way you don't get, especially when you're running a mage character. I mean, look at me. I'm level 35 and I've only got 120 stamina. Like, my carry weight is not fantastic. 300 carry weight, which ironically is the starting carry weight in the vanilla Skyrim. I've actually nerfed that to make it more challenging in the game. But it helps circumvent that issue when you can just conjure up your own bank. Next is Fabricate Object. Those of you that have seen my Apocalypse showcase video will be familiar with this mod, or with this spell. This is a great one for so many ways. Again, this is one of these expert level spells, so you don't start the game with this, but in this way you can create a bridge, a bed, a chair. The bed is particularly helpful because you can actually sleep in this puppy, and that can get you your well-rested bonus. Or if you're a vampire and you need to sleep before you can level up, or what have you, you can just conjure a great place for you to rest. If you're using the I Need mod like I am, boom, you don't have to go back to an inn. If you're playing a werewolf and you're worried about going into an inn at night because you might, see the moon and hulk out and start eating people, conjure your own bed. Not a problem. You can also conjure all of the crafting stations. So for example, if you want to do some enchanting, alchemy, work with leather, workbench, anvil, cooking spit, grindstone, smelter, it is all here. You can just pop out the spell, do your work, keep on going. Yeah, Apocalypse makes the alteration spell tree like vital for any character. Like if you're doing any crafting, you want this thing, because then now you don't have to carry around 80 pounds of fur waiting for the time to get back to the tanning rack to turn it all into light armor. You can just conjure this thing up, do your skinning, and move on. That dog is making a lot of noise. I wish I hadn't upgraded his duration. I'm trying to calm people down and you're freaking them out. Growling at nothing. Alright, so next we have, actually I think most of these spells, control weather. This is a fun one. Alright, so actually this could be good. Sunset. I haven't tried this spell during sunset. Alright, we're going to go out onto we're going to get a nice view for this. Let's get a nice view for sunset while we control the weather. Alright, let's see. This will give us a good view. Where's the sun? There we go. That's the money shot right there. Alright, I don't have enough magicka. Aha, I have a fix for that. Thank you to everyone on the last Apocalypse video that reminded me about that one simple command to allow you to cast spells like this. Alright, so we've got a nice... Oh, we've already got kind of clear... Oh, we already have cloudy weather. Let's go ahead and try some rain. The weather yields easily to your spell. Boom shakalaka. Also, I have Obsidian Weathers and True Storms right now, so being able to bring out the rain actually is pretty cool, because you get the full mods effects that overhaul how it all looks and feels, and it's cool. So this is a master level spell actually. You will need like 100 alteration to be able to use this. And you might think at first that this is purely decorative, but when you get into the Ordinator spell tree, there is actually a perk in Destruction called Force of Nature. And fire spells in sunlight will cost 30% less magicka, frost during snow, and shock during rain. So in my case, for example, I've got the fire spells going, so I want clear weather. And now at the touch of the button, I have clear weather. Now my fire spells, if I got that mod, would do 30% less damage, or 30% less magicka, which would be fantastic. Alright, I think that covers just about all of the... but we are missing just two more. There are two more non-combat spells that I want to show you guys. This one is called Milestone. Actually, this is not a bad spot to mark. You get a beautiful view. Alright, so for Milestone, the description of it, you place 5 teleportation anchors and teleport freely between them. So we are placing a teleportation anchor. I think. Did it not do it? Let's try it again. Usually they give you like a little tag or a response of some kind if you've... Okay. Alright, let's try it over here. Alright, what do you say we try that spell again? This is a master level spell. Takes a little longer to charge. There we go. Okay, so the secret there is you got to aim at the floor. Very limited range on this spell. So we're going to create a milestone number 1. That creates for us a milestone. That is quite beautiful. Well done. We now have a beachfront property, as you can see. That is milestone 1. Now let's go ahead and test this out. You can make up to 5 milestones. So let's say, for example, we wanted a milestone up here. We'll let my friends deal with the current occupants. And... wait, okay, get out of my face. There we go. Thank you, Serana. She understands my need to have a consistent audience and no interruptions. Alright, let's go with milestone number 2. Create milestone number 2. Now, here's where things get interesting. You can use this spell to interact with your milestone. So we're going to activate milestone number 1. Or number 2. We're going to teleport to number 1. And there we go. So you can put a network of up to 5 milestones throughout Skyrim. So your home base, the town where you like to do make the most financial transactions. I'd probably put one over in Solstheim if you're doing a full walkthrough, and that allows you to fast travel between all 3 of them. But as you may have noticed, the nice thing about this, there is no loss of time, right? So it's fast travel without actually losing time. That means you can milestone to your home, drink all the potions, get all the buffs you need, and then follow your other milestone back to the big fight without losing 3 hours of travel time and all your buffs wearing off. And then, let's see, I'm not quite sure what Toggle Beacon does. Let's find out. Oh. Okay, well there you go. So you can turn on and turn off the big shiny green. I rather like the shiny green. That's just kind of cool to me. Particularly if you have it parked in front of your home or the town that you prefer. Like if you're a mage and you want it parked in front of your mage guild, I think that's a nice touch. You can also destroy it, and there we go. Now, this does mean, technically the way that this works is I think you'll probably want to only use 4 at a time and save the 5th one for when you're out adventuring, right? So your 5th one will be the one that you make and destroy as you adventure, and then you can teleport back and access your network, right? You do all the shopping that you need to do, and then you can go back to your adventuring one, finish clearing out that dungeon, and then obviously you would want to destroy your other one, your other milestone. But it's a fun way. I like that it's more story-based. So for example, if you wanted to do a more story-based playthrough without any fast travel, for example, no shortcuts, this is a fun spell to build up to, because then suddenly you have shortcuts. Alright, on to the next spell. This next one, though, is a lot of fun. If you ever want to feel like Thor, this is a good one. Alright, so this spell is called Wind Running. Now, the way this works is when you cast this spell, your character will no longer lose elevation. Let's get this thing working. There we go. And we go for a walk. Oh, no, my mistake. You have to... I thought at first it was concentration. It is not. You just cast it. It's a buff. So we're going to cast that real quick. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Now we'll go for a run. Check me out. Now technically you could probably combine this with Dropzone and not fall to your death if you're going off of a particularly high cliff. The disadvantage, well, the weakness of this is if you stop sprinting, it wears off. So if you stop sprinting, so don't be up too high, don't stop sprinting. It's risky to use that in combat because if you get staggered for whatever reason, you would then stop sprinting and then you would fall. So use that with caution. But if you ever want to run above your enemies and then drop down on them from above, that is totally doable. And I think from there, I think even when you're sprinting, you could still use shouts. So if you wanted to like unrelenting force them from way up high, you could totally do that. That would be a lot of fun. All right, so I think that takes care of all of the non-combat related spells. So we are going to find a nice open spot where we can do some demonstrations. I think we'll go ahead and rest for the night and get us to dawn the next day, because I want to make sure it's nice and clear for you guys. Oh, unless... Oh, all right, we got some daylight. Let me get some food in my belly. We'll do some fondue, some stew, get some water. There we go. All right, so for the combat spells, we're going to go back up to the novice level spells. First one is called Alarm. Alarm will alert you whenever anything is within 150 feet of the perimeter. So we're going to go ahead and sneak on in here. Come on. Alright, just to speed along this little presentation, we're going to quick save right there. Alright, so usually there are some bad guys over here. Oh, there we go. An enemy approaches. See that in the upper left corner? That is what your alarm spell would do. So one of the things you can do is cast this whenever you're looting, and then if you missed something, it will warn you before they are trying to chew on your neck. If you've ever been in that situation where you're looting and then suddenly someone's attacking you from behind, this spell can prevent that. It's definitely a D&D-esque spell if you've ever played Dungeons & Dragons. And it doesn't make a lot of sense when your character is just like using the wait option. You know, alarm doesn't really work that way. Oh, I'm still in God mode, so this shouldn't be a problem. Oh, well, I guess while we're on this subject, we can move on to our next dangerous spell. Next one is Perilous Paths. That one actually needs some live volunteers. Bon appetit, sir. Now, just keep walking on the stakes. Come on, come get me. There we go. All right. So it gives a random chance to stagger the poor soul that tries to walk across the stakes. Now, here on the open battlefield, it looks kind of stupid because, you know, just go around them. But if you remember how many dungeons these days are very narrow, especially in between cells, this is a very easy way to fortify a section. And then if you conjure like an Atronach or something on your end, or you're an archer or a thief, this gives you a way to slow down enemies that are coming and then just fill them full of arrows or magicka. So that is definitely something to look into. Next we have Raise Wall, which I guess isn't really a combat spell. Well, it kind of is. Anyway, so you can use it with it only takes one hand, which is helpful. Let me see if you can do combat. If you can do damage spells while you are casting your wall. That would be an interesting experiment. Alright, so we're going to throw up our little wall. There we go. And, okay, cool. So you can still fight, you can still cast your spells, you can still swing your mace if you're a melee guy. So what you would do here is get into a dungeon and then put up a wall in between, you know, to divide the enemy forces, right? So bad guys next to you, and there's a hallway with lots of bad guys over there. Now these guys can't get to you, right? It'll stop arrows, it'll stop spells. I already tested that out. The one thing to remember is this is a concentration spell, so it'll only last as long as you have magicka, unless you can cast apprentice level spells without using magicka. There are a couple perks in Ordinator that actually let you do that. So that's a little hint at what you can do in the future. Alright, next is Wither. Wither will reduce a target's movement speed and attack damage by 5% every second for 20 seconds. So let's go and see if we can't find a couple more people that want to kill me. I'm glad that I got the auto conjuration spell going so I can focus on demonstrating spells and not on just killing bad guys. Alright, there we go. Alright, so his attack speed is going down over the next 20 seconds. Movement speed is down as well. It's just hard to tell. Oh, hard to tell when they are focused on. Yeah. Alright, let's draw them out into the open. That'll make the movement speed easier, more obvious, I should say. Oh, come on, hold still. Yeah, the spell is not overpowered because you still have to be precise. There we go, got one. Alright, come and get me. Yeah, you can tell she's moving a bit slower than her buddies. So if you're a thief type that's trying to keep your distance, or a mage type that definitely needs to keep their distance, this is a good spell for that. And if you combine that with like Perilous Paths, like we were using earlier, so not only do they move slower, but they have a chance of getting stunned or staggered. Then it takes them longer to get past this area, which increases the likelihood of them staggering because they have to spend more time on there. And there you go. Of course, it helps when you've got a vampire mage backing you up, because I love my Serana. She is fantastic. Alright, let's see if Serana can fix these guys, and then I can figure out what the next spell on the list is. Strength of Earth. Alright. I'm going to do, I think that's the left hand? Yes. So then the right hand. This one is for melee, or one particular ice spell. Oh, did we kill enough guys? I think we killed enough guys. We got one archer up there. I guess we'll go for it. Okay, so this is a concentration spell. While you hold it, you do 40% more melee damage, right? So you'll notice my first swing here will do quite a bit. Well, if we get close enough, there we go. Alright. And then when you release it, it stuns, right? So it has two effects. The first effect is a buff to enhance your damage. And then when you release it, it staggers them, so you can get in and do some more damage. There's also a master spell that activates when they stagger that I will show you very soon, which is amazing. Alrighty, so I think that's it for the bad guys. So we are going to reload back at our quick save, and I will show you a few more spells. Alrighty, so next we're going to go for Tharn's Prison and Undermine. Alright, I don't think... Yeah, Undermine is a buff. We'll do Undermine first. I think I put that in the left hand. Alright. I don't think you shoot it. Oh, yes, you do. Huh, oops. Did not mean to shoot my doggy. There we go. All right, so Undermine means that every time the opponent hits you with a melee attack, they stagger, right? So it punishes them for landing a hit. Actually, for taking a swing. Once they take a swing, they stagger, so it's great for slowing them down. This other one on my right hand is Tharn's Prison, which actually cages the opponent in a lovely cage. Speaking of cages, hey, this is a live demonstration. I can't handle you stabbing into me. There, stay there. There we go. And Serana can do her work. So that's a great spell for crowd control. It is only an adept level spell, so you can get it fairly early in the game. It can actually work on multiple targets, as you saw. So as long as you're not running out of magicka and you've got a melee weapon, or technically a ranged weapon, I think they could still hit you in melee, so you'd want to keep your distance and just stabby, stab, stab. But those two are very helpful. Next, we're going to look at Entomb. And what do we got left? And Tumble Magnet. That's another fun one. All right, I think both of those, yeah. I'm trying to find spells that don't require both hands to cast, because I've got a list here. I'm trying to find the ones that are trying to get the most convenient order that I can to show you guys this stuff. So my left hand right now, right is the Tumble Magnet, and then left is Entomb. All right, yeah, and these are very obvious what they do. So let's start with the Tumble Magnet. Come on, charge up the spell for me. There we go. All right, come on, boys. Come on, come get me. All right, so the Tumble Magnet actually will pull your bad guys back into... There we go, see? It doesn't work oh, no, it worked on all of them. So it will drag your bad guys back into the Tumble Magnet at random intervals. So it's not 100%, but it is still very awesome. Next, we have Entomb. This is a fun one. Let's see. All right, takes a little sec to charge. And down he goes. You actually store them in the ground. Like, how D&D-esque is that? Now, they are actually stored, and if you wait long enough to summon them back, they will actually be in a frenzied state. And they will still be the same NPC they were before with the same, hostilities. So technically, you could entomb like a vampire and then bring it up in the middle of town. Because as you can see, like with these guys, I can bring them right back. There we go. Alright, so that gives us those two. Entomb is a great spell for capturing prey. Tumble Magnet keeps them at bay. Let's go ahead and recast that if I can without getting hit too much. There we go. Alright, that'll give me some breathing room. Alright, what we got next here? Oh, this one will be fun. Alright, this is called Acceleration Rune. It requires 2 hands to cast. Oh, yeah, he triggered it. Do you see him fly away? Oh, no, that was Tumble Magnet. There we go. Do you see him fly all the way over that building? Yeah, so the acceleration rune, whenever a bad guy hits it or steps on it, there he goes. They continue on in the same direction, but at a much higher velocity. Oh, I love it. That one is fun. That one is so much fun. It is a master level spell, so this is not something you'll get at the start of your game, but oh, that is great. Yeah. I especially like the idea of using that one on a mountainside. Away they go. Alright, next is Battletide. Alright, so we're gonna reset, because on Battletide you need multiple opponents for that one, for sure. I also want to show you Knowledge is Power. Alright, so let's do that one next. Knowledge is Power. So the way the Knowledge is Power works is it takes the spell in your left hand? No. Oh, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's go ahead and pick something big and fancy. What's something big and fancy? Fireball. Yeah, that's big and fancy. I don't think you can get much bigger and fancier than that. So I'm going to cast Knowledge is Power while holding the Fireball spell. It takes a second. There we go. Alright, power granted. Now I go into my power. I find Power of Knowledge. Now you can cast this spell once per day. And gee, I wonder what kind of spell it could be. Fusro da that. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, I thought I could only cast it once. I was so wrong. I can't. You can. Oh, geez. Okay, it becomes a. Really? I gotta check the description again. Knowledge is power. Copies the non-concentration spell, granting a power to cast the spell. Oh, okay. Okay, so because I'm in God mode, I can cast this spell as many times per day as I want. If I was not in God mode, it would only be once per day. So maybe you take something like Entomb that captures the enemy in the ground and make that your power and use that as a ripcord, right? If you're about to die or the boss is too tough for you, you can Entomb them and save them for later. Yeah, that should work. All right, that leaves us with, okay, Battletide. That's a fun one. All right, so with Battletide, it is armor-based. So you can tell right now my armor rating is 255. And that is with my armor buff that auto casts when I'm in danger. Now we're going to run in to danger. We'll wait to pop that when I'm surrounded by bad guys. Alright, so that's one. Come on, I need more than one here. I need a lots of you. Come on, where are your friends? Oh, there we go. Yeah, come on, guys. Alright, two should work. Alright. Ooh. So that is a shockwave. Everyone that it hits, it absorbs armor. So you gain 80 armor from each of your victims, and as you can see, my armor rating almost doubled. It lasts for 30 seconds. So the more bad guys you fight, the better your armor becomes, which I think is absolutely great. Now, in the spirit of hanging on to Oh Holy Crapdom spells, we're going to keep Fireball in the right hand, while using our next spell, which is Hethoth's. Okay, no, I think it looks like that actually needs to be in the right hand, so we'll move Fireball to the left. Alright, so Hethoth's Grimoire copies the spell in your left hand, and then from that book, randomly casts it all over the battlefield. That is any ranged combat spell. So, in my case, I would have to time this a little better, and there we go. Yeah, oh, no, come on. Alright, so as you can see, there is a pattern to it, so it's kind of going at every o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and it just keeps bombing the crap out of them. So if you actually were to combine this with a wall spell, where did I put that? Where's that wall spell? There we go. And voila, there you go. So you lock them behind a wall with a book that is constantly exploding, and then you just wait for them all to die. Is a very big possibility. Yeah, so that's a cool one. That's Hethoth's Grimoire. Yes, Hethoth's Grimoire. Next one I want to show you is Maliviser's Gautlet. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but the spell is still fantastic regardless. So let's go ahead and do. We'll stick to the Eldritch Blast just because it doesn't look. We want to highlight what the spell does, not what it allows you to do. Alright. Oh, well, you just killed him. I don't think it'll work then. Nope. Okay, so I need a living victim to use on Maliviser's Gauntlet. But I think there's an archer up here that would be happy to donate his life for this experiment. Alright, so have any of you ever wanted to feel like a Jedi? Enjoy. Oh, come on. Alright, I think you might have to be a little closer. There we go. Oh, take it, Luke. Feel the power of the Force. And maybe pick a spell that has some slightly better targeting. The one downside with this is it actually moves that... Oh. Alright, that's not a downside. Apparently when it's done, it throws them. I missed that when I was first testing out this spell. That is beautiful. You can literally force grip them and then hurl them off the side. Oh, I love that. That was definitely a master level spell, by the way. Unfortunately, you won't be starting a playthrough with that, but it is fantastic. Alright, we've only got a couple spells left, but all the bad guys are dead. So, we're going to switch back and do one more. Alright, so next is Sotha's Maelstrom, which is a right-handed spell. So we're going to go ahead and do some more Eldritch Blasts on the left hand. Let me check the description real quick. Alright, so this spell is a massive debuff. Nearby enemies within 20 feet lose 5% magic resist per second, up to 100%. So the longer the bad guys are in combat with you, the lower their magic resist will go, to the maximum of 100% magic resist reduction. There we go. So your spells will do a lot more damage. And, ooh, yes, that is nice. I thought it was stationary, but you carry it with you. Oh, right. So if you're nasty boss, if you're a destruction wizard, right, and that boss just keeps taking the hits and you can't do much, whip out this bad boy, and within 20 seconds, their magic resist will be reduced by 100%. And then you just, have your fun. Take them apart. I love that it's an AoE you can carry with you. That's awesome. It's like a magic resistance dropping cloak spell. Ah, that is beautiful. I am a fan. Alright, next is Talons of Nirn. I believe that it can be cast with one hand. And then we're also going to do... Yes, okay, so these two... you save these two for last, and you use them simultaneously. Let me see if I can get these guys... Alright, so the first one, Talons of Nirn. Whenever an enemy is staggered, a spike of rock erupts from the earth and tosses your target into the air, dealing 150 stamina damage. And then if you combine that with Thurmming Stone, there's a lot of staggering going on. So, let's have a look. Up and over. Okay. I remember. Okay, so Thurmming Stone is in my right hand. So I just need... We're going to try and lure these guys outside if we can. If my dog doesn't kill them all. Okay, no. It looks like we might have to just settle for an indoor demonstration. Give me my Thurmming Stone. Master spells take so long to charge. There we go. Okay, so with the Thurmming Stone, every 8 seconds, they will all get staggered. Haha, look at the spikes! Every time they stagger, the spikes come and knock them into the air and do damage. This Thurmming Stone causes a stagger every 8 seconds. I'm gonna have a forest of stone, and they're stuck behind it. They literally make their own barriers. Isn't this amazing? I love it. I feel like Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I am an earthbender. Fear me. Haha. So this is definitely one that you might want to save for outdoors, just so that you can appreciate the full extent of the height that they are being thrown. Ooh, actually that might work. Come on outside, guys. Yeah, this is going to look so much better. Come on and unleash. There we go. Alright, bring it. There, you see those guys flying through the air. I love it. Come on, a little more. When's the next thrum? There we go. Up you go. Ah, that is so much fun. So it's primarily to knock out their stamina. I believe it does do some damage, but primarily it takes out their stamina. So this is definitely to augment the melee fighters in your party, because obviously when the baddies are stuck in this situation and they're on the ground or airborne... Oh, there we go. We got some good air that time. I was hoping for some air. You have to apologize. My character is a spellcaster, not a melee fighter. One-shotting these guys is not going to happen. But, that is beautiful. That is what master spells should feel like, right? You just hurl your opponents into the air. I love that it creates terrain, right? Like, nothing gets through here. They can block arrows, projectiles. You can control, time it. You know when the thrumming is coming, so you get them at the right spot, and then you can build like a fence. So all his buddies can't get to you, particularly if there's like a hallway in the way. Great. Just great fun. Alright, now I want to make sure, I've got the list here of all 30 spells. I want to make sure I've accounted for them all. Okay, so the last one is Thundering Hooves. And usually, I'm not usually in a position where I would use this. You're going to have to get away from a bad guy. I tend to not steal horses, and I tend to not bother with horses, because they don't really follow you into combat very well, if you get my drift. Particularly if you're like dungeon diving and stuff. However, this is a useful spell if you have a horse, so we're going to go get a horse. Thundering Hooves. For 180 seconds, your mount is X% faster. That will be dependent on your level of alteration skill. Your horse regenerates stamina and can swim upwards to run on water. What? Nearby allies riding a mount within 30 feet also benefit. Okay, so we're going to... how long does this last? 180 seconds. Okay, so we should be able to get to a horse from here. Excuse me, sir. This is for science. This is for the demonstration. I just need... I'm riding on water! This is awesome! That is so cool! And your horse's speed is also enhanced. Very nice. And your horse regenerates stamina, which I think means they can do this whole sprinting thing longer. Ah, that is a fun spell. I like that, particularly if we... You know what? I wonder if I fast travel, if I can bring him with me. Because, I mean, when you can ride on water, you can ride on water. Obviously, your next step is to find an ocean. It makes total sense. We're going to ride into the sunset. The wintry, watery sunset. Please tell me I still have my horse. Haha, I do. Okay. All right, let's see. So we need to get north very quickly. And, okay, and we're going to need sunset. And, okay, we're going to have to... I want to ride into the sunset. Is that too much to ask? Or a sunrise? I'll settle for a sunrise. Just need a good view. All right, 3, 4, 5. That ought to do it. Wow, this is kind of... Okay, so step 1, get off horse. Step 2, control weather. I want a nice view. This is also useful if you want to do like Skyrim videos and stuff, and you need the, the perfect weather for the perfect shot. Clear skies. There we go. Horse, where do you think you are going? I am not done with you yet. Let's see, where was it? Thundering Hooves. There we are. And there we go. All right. I want to thank you guys for joining me on all of these wonderful spells. That is 31 Apocalypse spells. Feel free to tell me which one is your favorite, particularly when this spell stops mouth. There we go. There it is. All right. Riding off into the sunset. 31 alteration spells at our behest. Stay tuned next week for the next school. I'm probably going to do Conjuration next. It looks like so much fun. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite alteration spell is from the Apocalypse spell pack. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel below, and I will see you guys next week. Now, let's see what happens if I stop running and see if the horse sinks. Oh, that's very nice. All right, I love Skyrim modding. That is so much fun. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Take care. Bye.